What up, Eric? How's it going, man? A second show here.
Going very well. I know. Second show on the YouTubes. I'm very excited
I'm
about this
celebrating
because
with our good buddy
that's
Spidey. Just so you know.
I I'm celebrating with a beer because
Kudos.
I'm never getting exactly what I want, so I gotta like piecemeal it. Just keeps me at a level. Yeah,
That's fair. I get it. Actually, what do I have in here? Nah, it's just fruit punch. I ain't gonna lie. I was gonna lie. I
yeah.
just had liquor here on the man
Don't pretend.
Jack,
Don't pretend.
gentleman
No,
Jack.
no,
Nah,
no,
nah,
no,
I
no,
can't.
no, no, no.
It's
But
just.
and listen, it's a fruity beer, so none of us are that cool.
I guess Spidey.
I'm a fan of fruity drinks. You got the Spider-Man mug. I don't know if you could tell, but I have all these Spider-Man toys out. I've decided that I'm going to keep putting more Spider-Man stuff in my background until we get the trailer. That's how you're going to know how long it's been. So if I start going to like third level Spider-Man characters, we've been waiting a
That
long
might be a
time.
while. We
I
can't.
know.
It's a damn trailer. It doesn't exist. It's lies.
It's got to
Lies.
exist because they already have like these, like these big toys here. They already got the big toys for the Spider-Man trailer out. So it's there. Just
Whatever.
no
I
trailer.
don't know. We'll see. It's gotta. I know. All jokes aside, the movie we talked about this. The movie's in December, so it's usually customary 3 months before release. Usually,
Right.
bigger movies like this is a little early, but whatever. I don't know.
So you're thinking September, October?
That's by industry standard for whatever that's worth. But some of these big films they do release trailers earlier, 6 months, 4 or 5
Right.
months.
That's what I was hoping. Right.
But
Yeah.
I maybe I don't know. Maybe because the whole I don't know. It's a lot. I know there's a lot of secrecy with the movies. Like, whole if you haven't seen Loki
Maybe
yet,
the fact that Loki's out, or
I don't know.
also don't forget, with What If coming out, there apparently is a Spider-Man who becomes Doctor Strange episode. They even released a toy of it,
Oh, there you
so
go.
maybe they're waiting for that to come in because
Maybe,
that connects
yeah.
Doctor Strange and Peter Parker so close together. I don't
I
know.
mean, worst. I think at worst we're getting it at Shang-Chi release time, which is in September, which
Yeah,
puts it
probably.
around the
Yeah,
3 to 4 months before. That's what I'm
actually,
guessing.
that's the best
Yeah,
because that's September. You still have October, so
exactly.
it'd probably come out then. But like at best, it is Shang-Chi. At worst, it's sometime in October.
Yeah, I'm shocked you haven't gotten it, but what I mean, obviously we'll get dive in nice and dirty into that. We'll probably do a separate video
Oh
on the
yeah,
trailer and all that.
sure,
So why not, right?
absolutely.
But either way, we got a lot of stuff to cover here. We
Dude,
got some bad batch we
a
got to
lot of
talk
people
about.
were, so many people were talking about like, what are you going to do now that Loki's over? I'm like, there's so much more stuff. I mean, DC, Marvel, those are the big two, but there's so much stuff coming up, so much little tidbits of things that, trust me, this is almost going to be too big of a show.
There's a lot of things, and let's start with the big one before we get into the nerdy nuggets. Because
Sure,
as you're aware, I mean, I am privileged to see get screenings to a lot of the movies that come out, right? And on
that's
this,
one of your big
yeah,
gets. Yeah,
and
absolutely.
on this channel, I do drop all the reviews as soon as I see them, and I did get a chance to see Suicide Squad, of course, about 3 days ago. So I said it really early, so I dropped my review on
So
there.
you are, yeah. So you get to have the whole thing. So I know you have a
Yeah.
separate review, but if you could just bundle it up into a nice little nugget, what would you say about it?
Okay, so a couple of things, right? Because I'm sure you've seen Rotten Tomatoes. You sent me a screenshot yesterday, and,
Yes.
and there's been a lot of hype behind the film, right? I've heard, this is not me personally, I've heard people say it's
Right.
the best DCU film. That may not say a whole lot, but whatever. It's like top three, top five superhero movie of all time. James Gunn best movie. I heard all that stuff.
That's a
That's those
big
are
bold
all bold
statement.
statements, and I'll say this.
Sure.
I'll say this. None of it's true, in my opinion. However, as far as those extremes, I'm not.
Right.
But this is
So not even one of the top
no,
three DC
I'll say
movies?
this. I'll get to it in a second, but I'll say this.
Okay,
It's not the
sure.
best movie of all. It's not James Gunn's best film. It's not top five comic book hero films of all time. We can talk about the DCU placement of it. It's definitely up
Sure.
there. It may be the second best DCU movie for me. So all that being said, this movie is so good, dude. It's so fucking fun, dude. It's
That's awesome.
bonkers, bananas. I mean, like James Gunn kitchen sink and just throws it all against there. I
Awesome.
say this is not his best film, but it's the most quintessential James Gunn film. Right, he gets to do whatever he wants because he's known. And we see Guardians, right? People, the casual fan thinks of him for
Right.
Guardians, but let's be honest, his sensibilities go back to Super,
Or
Slither,
or, or Brightburn.
Brightburn. Yeah,
Brightburn's
I
a
think he wrote
great.
down. So
Yeah.
it's a lot of dark humor, a lot of violence, and
Yeah.
this movie has all that in all its glory.
Perfect.
This movie is
Perfect.
it's so good. It's so much fun. I wish I could really. I can't because we're all gonna do a separate video. Me and you and I on
Okay.
this. We need
Yeah.
to anyway when you watch it. I
Absolutely.
think it comes out in a
Absolutely.
week. But dude, it's great. I love this film. It might be my favorite film I've seen this year.
Okay. So on a scale of 1 to 10, or an A to B, a kind of grading system, what would you put this? That number, that grade, what would it be?
I hate numbers sometimes, but just to
You can make it letter grades. You
no
can do
no
letter grades too.
but yeah, just numbers 1 to 10, I guess, whatever.
Sure.
I'll
All right.
say 8.5 to 9.
That's pretty
No,
solid.
it's
That's
a
pretty
really, it's
solid,
a fun
especially
film.
from you.
Yeah.
Like, if it was 8.5 for me, you're like, we'll see. But 8.5 for you
No,
is a legit, like, that is a real
you
number.
really, I think you are particularly really gonna like this film. I'd be shocked. I'd be really surprised if you come back saying this
So,
is not good.
so it's definitely going to be like probably like a 9 for me around that
I'm
range. You
guessing
think?
maybe 8. I mean, it depends. I mean, look, listen, there's some small issues. I'm not gonna get into it, but whatever. But
Sure.
it's just the movie's so much fun.
Overall, it's a
The
fun
cast
movie.
is great,
It's
and then, listen,
and it's competently done.
of course, it's James Gunn, and any movie that
Well,
makes me like John Cena, that's doing good things.
so I take it F9 didn't do it for you.
No,
This is a movie that made you see.
I said in a video in a review that sometimes I wish I couldn't see John Cena. But this one, and now I'm actually interested in that. I know he's doing a spin-off with his character Peacemaker on HBO Max.
Right,
which
that's
I heard from an
exciting.
inside source that it's supposed to be bonkers as well. So
Well, I heard that James Gunn is writing those episodes.
he's producing. He's a showrunner. I'm not sure exactly how involved he is in terms of just the actual writing. He's not directing it, but I think he might be writing or partially whatever.
Okay.
He's involved in a large capacity. So that's obviously that's a good thing, right? Particularly after watching this film,
Sure.
for sure. It's a lot, dude. I tell people, listen, if you got HBO Max, I get it. Go pay for it if you can, if you feel safe or whatever. Because this movie, I don't know, I haven't said anything, but it needs a sequel.
That's,
Like, I
I'm
want to
sure.
see more Suicide Squad, hopefully with James Gunn. But if people don't go watch it or whatever, we talked about numbers and what that means in box office.
Would this be too much of a spoiler? Can you give me the number of characters that survived to the end? Because it's Suicide Squad, so I think it starts off like something like 14, but like or something
I'll
like
say
that.
A very small. Don't get married to anybody. It's a handful.
Perfect.
This is like
That's
Game of
great.
Thrones, like or early Walking Dead, where like anybody could die. Literally,
That's great.
anyone.
I mean,
so
that was my big problem. It's Suicide Squad, and like 2 people died. One in the beginning
no.
and one kind of at the end. That was it. I'm like,
I'll
I need
say-
more suicides.
I'll say
So-
out of 14 or however you said 14. I don't
Yeah.
know the exact number of the people involved. Let's just say 10, 14, whatever. I would
Sure.
say I think 4 to 5.
That's a fair drop off. That
That's
makes
a
it
huge
fun.
drop off. That's
That's
a huge drop off.
But that's
for a
what I'm
movie like
saying.
this.
Yeah,
Right,
but that's
yeah.
there's so many D and C level villains that just cloud up the world of comics. Like just in Batman alone, there's like 7 characters who have like the Riddle theme going on. So
Right.
wipe those dudes out, put them in a movie, let them have a moment, and then just toss them out in the bin. I'm all cool with that.
Yeah, and I was like, oh man, he went out. I was like
Perfect.
that, like okay, which is good. That's a good thing because now the stakes are higher because you just literally don't know who's gonna make it at the end of the film. Look, this is not really a spoiler. We all know. Let's just get out the way that Margot Robbie is not getting killed off, obviously. So don't. Let's.
That's too big.
Yeah, it's too big. But everybody else is literally fair game.
Everyone
It's
else.
fair game. So I'll leave it at that. You're gonna like it.
Listen,
It's fun.
when Harley Quinn went on the actual Suicide Squad comic book, no one thought, oh, she's
course
gonna
not,
die
yeah.
because she's
Right,
Harley Quinn.
yeah,
You know, it's
we
you know.
gotta understand. Let's be realistic.
Yeah.
They're not killing her off. So it's fair to say that. But anybody else, whatever. It's fair game as far as I'm concerned. And so
They're,
yeah, a lot of
They're
so
options.
much good.
That's awesome. That's great.
Yeah, I can't wait to really deep dive with you next week. I'm sure. I
Yeah,
know you're
that's gonna be
watch
great.
it,
That's gonna
obviously.
be great.
It's gonna
Yeah.
be great. So yeah, huge thumbs up. So good for that. I was
Cool.
worried that this would not be good. So DC finally, right?
Cool.
By the way, so that let's get Nerdy Nuggets time. A lot of stuff.
Let's
to get
do it.
into. We are going to do a little bit. What we're talking about Bad Batch later on. Transformers.
Yeah.
That Netflix show came out
Transformers
this weekend, and there was something else we're touching base on. But that being said, let's get to it. So this is the nugget I know you've been itching to talk about. We couldn't talk about it last time in the first show. So this deals with Lucasfilm. Well, there was a story
Yes.
about a YouTuber. I think his name is Shamook. I think.
Shamook, yeah.
Yeah, that's his whatever. His YouTube.
It's a
whatever.
screen handle, right? Yeah.
He does a lot of deepfake stuff and all that, and special effects and yada yada yada. Well, this
He
ties in-
recently just put out one where he put the dude who's Batman now, who's with the vampire guy from
the Twilight,
the Twilight guy, right?
Patterson,
I forgot his name.
Patterson.
James Patterson, right?
Yeah.
He put his face on all of Ben Affleck's Batman moments to kind of look like what it would look like him being Batman. Apparently, it was like a knockout. Like people were like, this looks cool. Got him excited for Batman. And so when I read this news story, I was like, we got to talk about it just because it put a little tickle in my belly.
Yeah,
So,
I think there's a lot of hope to a lot of YouTubers out there who do this kind of work.
Absolutely.
Because this does not go unnoticed from those, but aside from the fans, and in particular in
Right.
this case, they obviously we know about the Mandalorian season 2, the ending where they brought out Luke and it was a full CG Luke and whatever. Some people liked it, some or whatever, but the idea of it was
We
awesome, right?
we even coined the term for it,
Yeah,
going the full
going
Luke,
full Luke, right?
which is like trying to do something, but it doesn't come out 100%, but you're pot committed to it. That's
Exactly,
calling it
exactly. You
full
got to
Luke.
do it exactly. So, in this case, it's funny. We have someone like Shemuku, whatever, who's he's an amateur. I mean, I guess for lack of a
He's
better
never had
phrase.
a real job
Right,
in
he's
this
not in the
industry.
industry. He's not working for ILM or whatever, or anything like that. So,
Well,
well, not yet anyway. But he has, but he did his own version, deep fake of that Luke in Mandalorian, and it was better than what they actually gave us in the Mandalorian.
infinitely
Yeah,
better.
and not surprisingly, based off that, ILM saw it, they liked it, and now he's on board with ILM. Talk about a huge opportunity for someone because ILM is right the
It's the
special
the
effects house
pinnacle.
or
It's, right?
whatever,
It's like
right? Yeah.
it's right there with like the guys who do Marvel and Pixar. Like they are the top of the line.
But yeah, they're like they're up there. They're like the Apple of the business world or
Right.
whatever, the Amazon. So this is actually interesting. What I mean, what an opportunity for this guy who is
I
doing
was
his thing. I'm
surprised.
sure he's doing well, but to be part of ILM now, that's amazing.
I was surprised when they put it like a YouTuber gets hired by Lucasfilm for deepfakes. I was surprised that title didn't say Lucas fires guy who can't do better than YouTuber. That should have been the title of the
That
news
probably should
article
have been.
because if they're saying he's now the senior consultant for face conceptualization, some
Yeah.
garbage title. It's basically you know how to do deepfakes, which means like what kind of like embarrassment that must have been for the dude who busted his ass, he thought, to end the Mandalorian on a high note. And they told him, listen, we really liked what you did. It was good. But this guy, on his coffee break, he apparently did better than the hundreds of $1,000s we gave you to make Mark Hamill look like Mark
That's
Hamill.
kind of
So,
embarrassing. Yeah, I'm a
yeah.
sports guy, so this I equate this to like like the star quarterback who was once good, who's kind
Yeah.
of down, and they bring that hot rookie, and then he
They're
gets
bringing a
replaced. That's
rookie.
exactly what this is, right?
They're bringing a high school kid.
Oh yeah, but yeah, maybe,
He's just blue collar. Just no,
that's
we're
what
gonna
I'm
this guy.
saying. Maybe he's gonna go to Division 3 college somewhere, in Delaware or some shit.
I mean, if Lucas Films is smart, what they would do is get this guy, and they would automatically redo the ending of Mandalorian, and automatically redo the two scenes in Rogue One when they try to make Grand
Oh,
Moff Tarkin and Princess Leia at the
and
end.
yeah, right,
Like,
yeah.
do both their faces and Luke, and then put that back on digital. Don't even mention it; just put it on, like how they touched up the ending of WandaVision, but didn't tell anybody. And so when people go through, like, oh my God, Tarkin looks amazing now because this guy is doing it. Like you,
Yeah.
and then you can just bring in anybody who's died can now be in a movie now. That's basically it. You're now saying like now we get with this kind of like expertise, we can bring any actor. We could have Bruce Lee in a Star Wars movie. We could have what's the dude with the Rebel Without a Cause? James
Oh,
Dean.
the
James
James
Dean could
Dean.
be in a
Yeah,
superhero movie now. Marilyn Manson.
which they talked about. Funny enough, you mentioned that there was a story they were doing a movie with him, that version of him in a movie. So yeah, like a full.
Oh wow.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
This is like I heard about a year and a half ago they were trying to do that. So, but yeah, this
I
this
mean
is kind of thing
now.
that leads into something like that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I
Use
mean,
that likeness.
actors gotta be sharp about it because pretty soon they won't even have to pay you. They pay your face and get like audio clips from things you've done before, and you're good. Like that's not even a
If
problem.
that were the case, I could imagine that kind of I guess the actors be up in arms that hey, is it become obsolete, right? I mean, not anytime soon. Let's not get crazy,
Right.
but I could see something like that
We're
happen on
edging
there.
closer and closer to
Right? People get
the
upset.
point that
People start
hey, we're gonna
suing,
have to have a
which
sex scene with Anna Nicole.
yeah, you kind of broke up for a second. I'm sorry, but let's stay on the subject
Oh, I
because
said
obviously,
I was
go ahead.
sure.
No, go ahead. Go
I
ahead.
was
Go ahead.
I could just imagine the future. Like, listen, we're gonna need you to have a sex scene in a movie. We need full nudity, but you're gonna be co-starring against Anna Nicole Smith's deepfake. So let's just say we're really bringing in the heavy bodies.
Yeah,
So
that's full loop right there.
yeah, full.
I can see, yeah, but listen, 10 years from now, people are going to sue about that, which leads us to our next story. Speaking of suing, because this is actually a big one here, surprising in the world of Marvel because
Yeah.
WB is now saying, "You're it. because WB went through this when they
Oh
decided
yeah.
to do same day release in theaters and
Oh
HBO
yeah.
Max, and everybody went berserk and had to pay Patty Jenkins and Gal Gadot like $10 million because of the agreement they had when they by
Right.
releasing the film
And then, but they
theatrically.
didn't do that to anybody else at first. They fixed it, but at
They
first
fixed
they
it,
didn't do it
right,
to
but they did
anybody
it, to
else.
their
Right.
credit, they fixed it. And I'm sure that other stuff, other arrangements were made with some of the other
Sure.
talent. I'm sure after that, because you hear that, they're like, "Oh wait, what about us?" So I'm sure that's all taken care
Exactly.
of, right? I know, but Christopher Nolan came out, and he was Denis Villeneuve came out, and they were roasting WB,
Yeah.
destroying them. They were villainized, right? And all of a sudden, Marvel, Disney, shame on you, because now you're
Not
on
Marvel.
that
It's
boat.
Disney. It
Well,
is Disney. That's on
Disney.
Disney.
Marvel
That is
related,
on
but
Disney.
it's Disney. So apparently, Scarlett Johansson is suing Disney because again, that has such an agreement about she's going to get some of the back end for the
Right.
theatrical release, and they decided to do Disney Plus, so she doesn't get any of that money. And so she's suing, like, hey, what about me, right? I get paid. I'm getting screwed out of this deal. So she sued, which is surprising. I say surprising because I'll give credit to her because we heard nothing until now, right?
Right.
Usually people start complaining before.
Right off the bat. Oh
Hey,
yeah, like yeah,
what's going
usually by
on?
release. It's exactly
Right. So she kept it quiet. Kudos to her. She's
for about a month.
professional.
Yeah.
Yeah, and maybe she was they were trying to work things out. But with Disney, unfortunately, what WB did, but Disney didn't, is that they didn't work it out.
No, they did
Because I'm
not.
sure they could have said, "Listen, we're sorry. Here's whatever, right? Here's
Right.
$20 million, whatever number they can all agree with, and put it to bed."
Right.
And they've actually come out and they said that they're embarrassed by this
Well,
accusations.
Kevin
This suit.
Feige is embarrassed
Well, no, but
about it.
but Disney said about her, like they're embarrassed that she
Oh
came out
yeah,
and did it.
Disney
Yeah.
said like yeah, it's
Yeah,
really
yeah. Ken
sad that
Feige
you
was
got it.
upset
Yeah.
because he didn't agree with the decision about
Right.
the Disney Plus and all that, which is fine. But Disney came out and they were like really roasting her about it and saying,
Yeah.
"Oh, no, we gave her $20 million, whatever her salary was, et cetera, et cetera." Which is so something's going on here, which we obviously there's probably more to it than we know about. But dude, this is pretty bad. 'Cause I think Emily Blunt has jumped on board, as has Emma Stone. It's a big names.
That's what I heard. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because obviously Emma Stone had Cruella, which was released
Right.
about a month ago, a little before Black Widow. So man, wow. So this is a little bit of some
Here's
shit.
here's the thing though. I like the business side that I know a little bit about that I can kind of throw over here is the way that Marvel saves their money paying actors is they don't pay them the big money up front. They'll pay them like a good amount, a decent amount, but they'll say we'll pay you like this up front, and then you'll get these bonuses on the back end depending on how much money the movie
Yeah, they'll
makes.
get points,
So
percentage of their gross.
exactly,
Yeah.
like Robert Downey Jr. made like almost $500 million just through Marvel movies, just on starring in it, not the executive producing, whatever he did in there, just being in it because of the back end. He's made a total like $500 million, which is way more than any actor should get
It's ridiculous
paid
what he's
for a
getting.
series. They didn't pay him that. Those were the bonuses. Oh yeah. And so he pushed that deal with all the other Marvel heroes, which Marvel's like, that's a great idea. Let's do that because we don't have to put a lot of money up front and we'll get them for, we'll give them these bonuses.
Mm-hmm.
But the bonus is primarily for movie theaters. Once it gets to streaming, it goes more to like royalties and clicks per view, and it's not really as heavy as an incentive earner as a movie is. And so when you did that same day and date, they kind of cut the movie off of the legs a little bit. And so they only gave her the bonuses that the movie earned in theaters worldwide, but still only in theaters, which I think Disney said is like a little bit over 20 million, but she's suing because she was supposed to get 50 million. So it's kind of hard to feel bad for someone who's like, I only got 20 out of my 50 million,
Agreed.
Which is like, so like, I want to be sympathetic to her, but at the same time, I was like, dude, you're not earning that in any other movie series. Like, you think her earned you $20 million? Do you think the movie you did with Batman and Wolverine about the Prestige, you think that earned you $20 million? No, like no. So I know that you were speculated to have been promised that amount, but there's certain things in contracts that say if something happens out of our control, you can't really blame us for it. And there's nothing more out of control than the pandemic. So I can see Disney faulting behind that. But at the same time, if you're going to do day and date, I do think you should renegotiate your streaming compensation, because that's something that it's not just on the platform. It's being released specifically to have people come on the platform, keep them on the platform. So it's not just like it's been 3 months, the movie's already over, we're selling Blu-rays now, and now we're putting on streaming. It's now something completely different. So in that sense, I do back her up in what she's doing, but you kind of have to like take away your ego out of it, and you're like, okay, calm down, millionaire, that you're not a more millionaire, just be happy with it. But I see her point in the sense where they have to renegotiate the streaming options as the bonuses come through. And so I see it both ways. Obviously, I'm deferring more to her because I'm always a fan of the artist. But you got to remember, when you are an artist and you are working for a company, they have very specific guidelines that they are going to do to make sure they make the most amount of money, because they're hiring you. You don't own them. They're hiring you. So you got to tread lightly. I know this is her last Marvel movie, so she's like, fuck it. If I'm going to go, I'm going to take all the money with me. I'm out. But you got to play it smart, because, I mean, let's face it, this is not the last time you're ever going to work with a Disney property. Sure. Disney owns almost everything these days. So you gotta be stern but amicable. I think Disney could be a little bit of a dick because they hold all the cards right now. But if you're gonna do this, play your cards right, because or else you're gonna be regulated to just doing Universal, Sony, and Warner Brothers movies from now on. And that's fine. Take your chances. But right now, this is where the money's at. So play it smart.
I'll say this because the old saying, it's show business, not show friends, right?
Right.
Ultimately, I get her point. I mean, just take away the amount of money. Listen, no one's crying for her, right? I understand that.
Right.
But as an artist, whatever, or anything in business, you owed a certain amount, right? That's what you agreed to.
Sure.
And they kind of back off that. I think it's a principle thing, and I get it. I'm shocked Disney just didn't say, okay, here, just keep it quiet. Here's 20 mil extra and get out of here. I'm shocked that actually.
I'm really surprised.
That's like taking a hard stance here, which it's pretty big for them. And
I think
it looks bad.
I think Disney's kind of
worse for them. I think personally.
Yeah, and this is kind of flexing their muscle, kind of trying to put the smack down on her, going, "Don't anybody get any other crazy ideas.
Exactly.
It is what it is. You keep it." And
that's not other people see that, right? Like it happened WB,
right?
Why Chris Nolan's shopping around, right? You hear these rumors, Netflix, whatever.
Exactly.
And you don't want to lose someone like Chris Nolan. You don't want to lose talent, Scarlett Johansson, whomever. And other actors see this, and they're like, "Oh, Disney does. Oh, hold up a second. Oh, they're going to be more shrewd with their negotiating, right?" And that's not good business either for Disney. So. But I think it comes down at the end of the day. I think where the landscape is right, and all these Paramount, Universal all have the streaming services, right, and Apple, et cetera, and now they're pushing for that. They're doing shorter movie windows as far as theatrical release windows, so they can put it on Paramount Plus, et cetera. It just comes to listen. These actors have to start renegotiating based off that. And it's new, and it was now saying, okay,
the world is changing, and you guys are on the front line of that fight. It sucks.
Your contract needs to be whatever for the theatrical run, and say, okay,
think a little smarter. It's more the streaming than the theatrical at this point. That's how it's got to go.
If you're gonna do this. This is what I want, because that happened with even John Krasinski and Emily Blunt with The Quiet Place too, where there was issues with that.
Oh, did it really? I didn't know that.
Had grievances because they only got a 45-day release window, and we're gonna get paid based off the gross. So the less is in theaters, the less money you make. So they had the same gripe. This is maybe 2 months ago.
Right.
But again, all this is new. So it's just time for them to kind of change the way the contracts are done. The agents have to step up and say, okay, we can't just do back anymore.
Like this first round of fighting, it's probably not going to end well for either side. They'll probably split it, and like we'll give you another 15 mil. Shut up, and we're gonna move on. They'll just give her a portion of it and move on. But now everyone's got to know you got to focus on streaming. Theaters is almost like your appetizer. Is no longer your main meal. Your main meal is streaming, and just like streaming gives residuals for depending on how often someone sees an episode and the amount of time they stayed on an episode and all that blah 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 blah. That's how you got to push for your back ends now too, because that's where the money is.
Like I said, the game is changing. Change with it. But Disney, shame on you. But
absolutely,
Disney, shame on you. You should have paid her.
Come on, Disney. Come on. You're making Warner Brothers and Sony look classic.
You're making forget about Warner Brothers, and that wasn't easy to do because that was a huge hoopla 6 months ago.
So man,
they're happy. They're like, back. We can slide on the radar. We got Suicide Squad. It's all good right now, right?
Whatever they got, Suicide Squad, baby. Everyone got paid. Suicide Squad.
Look at Disney, So they're pointing the finger.
We killed half the cast to make sure everyone got paid.
Everybody wins. So, and I'm sure they, if there was grievances, James Gunn, whoever, I'm sure they took. I mean, we don't hear about it. So that to me, it tells me that they've taken care of it.
I don't want to say that Suicide Squad took a lot out of James Gunn, but his hair and beard are completely white now. God, so I'm just saying, stuff has happened. Yeah.
But all that, so we're curious to see how this ends up. I still think they settle. If they're smart, they settle. I They don't look at the bad guy here. They don't.
Yeah.
Disney's a lot. They got more losing Scarlett Johansson, I think, at the end of the day.
Disney has
Yeah.
so much dependent on like on
Yeah,
like client customer
relationships,
relations
perception, all
that
these. Yeah, yeah, exactly.
you can't, if
Yeah.
they're gonna look bad, they
There's a
got to
reason
clean
why
it up
Kevin
to make
Feige was legitimately upset about this, and I can understand
yeah.
why. He likes his people. He doesn't want to get screwed over. That's basically what happened here.
Absolutely, absolutely, because he knows that the fact that everyone is that's a Marvel movie is like on board on and off screen, at least while they're under a contract. That's huge for them. So they need that kind of camaraderie, that the well wishes and a good relationship. They need that. If you lose that, you're going to be Warner Brothers, and you're just a one bad movie away from like things falling
Of
apart.
course, and it's funny because before we got the subject here, just real quick, there was a story about Disney. They're gonna, or Marvel, whatever. They're gonna change the strategies as far as their contracts with their talent. Where before, 4 or 5 years ago, longer than that, they were signed for a 3 or 4 movie deal,
9
or
movies,
whatever deal it
right?
is, whatever. So now they're not doing that anymore. What they said, they're taking,
I mean,
they're taking
the
a different
smart thing
strategy.
is,
So which is good and bad because any actor can say, let's assume they sign a two movie deal, fine, right, and they become huge. It's Robert Downey Jr., right, and now it's saying, okay, now
right.
I'm not on the contract anymore. You want me? You got to pay the bigger bucks. So it's kind of a double-edged sword.
Well, the only out that this Marvel has for that is now they have variants, so they can just bring any actor and go. Now it's a different guy,
right? Which they can do that. So again, it's a double-edged sword for everybody. Yeah.
Brilliant strategy. Brilliant strategy. We're talking about dollars,
Business
pennies
wise
on this one,
correct.
So.
Absolutely. But now,
Correct. Yeah,
but
absolutely.
as an actor, I'm worried about. Well, hold on a second. Well, then maybe they want more money up front now because they know it could get replaced.
They might have more in the back end,
variant at any point. So interesting. So let's see. But let's move on from there. Let's get away from Marvel. We shouldn't have enough. Let's go back to DC. DC is in a good place
Okay.
now, right? Yeah, Suicide Squad.
Yes.
So again, an interesting story here involving, because we know the Batgirl movie's coming out on HBO Max. They casted I think Leslie Grace Martinez, who was in unknown. She was in The Heights at the musical that was on HBO Max. She's gonna be Batgirl. Latin.
Okay,
Latina
cool. I didn't know
action.
that. All right.
Yeah. Very
Nice,
super happy to
nice.
hear that. I'm always happy to hear that. So either way,
Cool.
but then we got a story where J.K. Simmons is reportedly going to come back as Commissioner Gordon.
I heard that.
Fascinating because
That means you're marrying yourself to the
Right,
Snyderverse. It's not done. It's
like,
not
I
done.
thought we were, the Flash might be the one that, okay, let's erase or whatever and move forward, whatever the plans were. But now, okay,
Right.
because this is going to come out after the Flash #1, if I'm not mistaken.
Right.
So we're still doing the Snyderverse thing. Like, it's odd. And I love J.K. Simmons, and I'm glad he's on it. And he could play Batman. He's jacked.
I hope.
We talked about it.
I hope Commissioner Gordon gets to take off his like trench coat and like roll up his sleeves so you see his arms. He's like, I'm gonna, because that dude is ripped.
He's crazy.
Yeah.
If you saw the Tomorrow War.
Something happened when he was a kid with a family member that he has to work out all the time to burn that anger out. And so I don't know what happened, but thank you. I'm happy.
It's good for him. I'm impressed. But yeah, so him coming back. I mean, it's interesting. Like you said, we talked about this multiverse, and DC was planning that anyways. It's something like that.
Right.
Obviously, there's no tie. If Gordon here in this one, there's obviously no tie-ins to Matt Reeves' version of Batman because it has what's his last name? Wright. I forgot who's playing Commissioner Gordon.
Jeffrey Wright, who's also doing the voice of the Watcher on the web series.
So he's gonna be the Gordon in that universe. So there's no anybody who thought the Batgirl might tie into that. Nope. So
it's tying more into Ben Affleck, which is also in the Flash movie, which
again goes back to the Snyderverse.
Like,
I don't understand this. It's weird.
I mean, it kind of sounds like they're kind of pushing their own version of the multiverse as well. I don't know, because they haven't really. I mean, I guess the Flash movie is going to address it specifically. It was like the Justice League movie. I hope so, because I'm cool with multi versions of things just as long as it's good. So, and I like J.K. Simmons a lot too. So yeah.
But it's funny how as much shit as Snyder gets or whatever, particularly from WB and all that they're still using so much of his talent.
Yeah.
And material.
His little breadcrumbs all over the place.
As much as they hate, he's the worst thing ever. All of a sudden, we still got Ben Affleck showing up. We still got the Flash movie. We still got Aquaman and Wonder Woman. All the actors that he brought on board, including J.K. So. For whatever that's worth. So that's interesting. I guess this is going to lead into multiverse with them as well. So
I'm cool with that as long as it doesn't drop the ball.
It's done well. It's fine. So we'll see. But I think that's like 1 or 2 years out before we get that show or whatever. But it's exciting anyway. Another movie to kind of talk about, which I found is interesting. We talked about Invincible in the past, animated show on Amazon Prime, which is awesome. Talk about
Yeah.
ultra violent. Whew.
Yeah.
So Robert Kirkland, the creator, of course, he also did a Walking Dead. He's on Skybound, with our good friend Peter Santamaria, who's been a guest on our show before. And he
Works
talked
for them.
about there were plans to make a Invincible live action film.
Right. I heard about
And
that.
yeah, and he came out recently in another interview saying, yeah, that's moving forward, and they want to take a different approach from the animated show, obviously.
Right. So it doesn't feel 100% the same thing.
Right. So I thought I'm looking. So I'll ask you, Merrick. I mean, does a live action work? Because this part of the charm of the show was was the gore and the violence, over
Okay.
sexualized violence in the
Here's
show.
here's what
You
I
know,
gotta say about that. You and me both watched Fear Street on Netflix, right?
Mhm.
Which was a horror movie that really leaned into like the goriness
Yeah.
of violence. It didn't
Mhm.
shy away from like a hit and you cut away to just like they showed you
Right.
the axe going in and what his body looks like after it's been dead.
The head through
It's
a meat grinder.
gross,
Yeah. Awesome.
and but like totally like this is how it happens, and
Sure.
and so it was like shocking, but it added to the feel of the horror.
Sure.
And I recently started watching because I have a little bit of time to myself right now. I started watching Into the Badlands. You ever watch that series?
It's fine. Yeah. Wasn't a huge fan. But I know what you're
It's a
talking
kung
about.
fu series,
Yeah.
but once again, leans in heavy to a lot of violence, a lot of blood, a lot of gore, that kind of thing. I feel like you could, if you're going to make the Invincible movie, you can set up the structure of it any which way. The one thing you can't go away from is the intensity of the violence of the world they built, because that's the hook. That's the thing that stands out. Like whenever, like every other 6 issues, Invincible has this face smashed in, his glass is broken, he's bloody, he's like, "Argh!"
Right.
So
Right.
like you got to have that. So as long as you have that, I think that's the way to go about it. I think that they will definitely have to create a big bad in the movie that he'll have to fight first, and then the end, kind of like the first episode, is like maybe Omni-Man and his guardians of the globe like all get knocked out. It's up to Invincible to save the day, but he's got to learn how to be a hero. But he's not that level yet, so he gets bumped up by a couple of teen heroes. But eventually, it's him versus the big bad, and you get him basically in a young Steve Rogers scenario where he's like, I could do this all day kind of situation, and he still wins because his dad is depending on him, and his mom and his girlfriend, so he wins. And then at the very end, while the Guardians of the Globe are recovering, Omni-Man comes in fully healed, and they're like, "Oh, look at you!" And he goes, "Yeah, look at me!" And then he kills everybody, and that's how the movie ends. So it's got to be something where it's got to look like he's got hurt, but you still got to double down with that ending where he just killed everybody. Because if not, you got to do it in the second movie where he murders everybody, and then that would have to be the beginning of the second movie. Is
And
him
the hook
murdering.
is that part of it, because that's what really changes their narrative
Exactly.
of the show.
Exactly.
I mean, if this is done like on Amazon Prime or Netflix or whatever, I'm not sure where if it's going to be released theatrically or not. I think I have more faith that it would be better like on those kind of, because you can go all out right on Netflix and Amazon. Theatrical, I don't know. I mean, I've seen Suicide Squad and it's very violent, but not near the degree of Invincible was on an animated show. Anyway, close to it. So let's see. But listen, I'm looking forward to it. I loved Invincible. That was great. So done right, like anything else is done right. Of course, bring it on.
But they can't. The violence has to be the level that the cartoon set up, which is what the comic book set up, or it's got to go even higher.
Right. They gotta, and that's where I'm like, okay, it's only so much you can do in theatrical release, right?
Right.
Obviously. So I don't know. So I'm kind of curious as we get more information. We'll talk about it more. But it's fascinating, though. That's a great show. If you haven't seen it, of course you have.
If they make a trilogy, it's got to be big bad for number 1. Number 2 is him fighting his dad, and number 3 is the invasion from his planet to Earth. That's how you do a trilogy. That'll have to be it, right?
Yeah. You can't do everything you do in the comic.
Obviously, no.
So it's like,
just those 3 big things. In the series, you can kind of go more in deep, but that's that's how you just handle it.
Absolutely. Another film that got surprising news here, and that's one about Flash Gordon, of course, the 1992 classic. The ultimate in cheese. Oh my God, Queen soundtrack. What Ming is it? Ming, Ming's the main guy.
Ming, and if you've never seen Flash Gordon in the movie, if you watch Ted, you've kind of watched Flash Gordon in the movie. They really reference that a lot, and what made that movie so much fun.
I mean, it's so cheesy. I love it. It's horrible, but I love it.
Oh yeah, it's so bad, but good.
But there's good material to make a great movie these days,
yes,
right? This is a movie
absolutely
that's begging for a remake, right?
Yeah. You cannot be a slave to every part. Like you can't be a slave to like 90% of that comic book, just because
No. Right.
time wise it won't make any sense.
Right.
But
Right.
the ideas of it, the
Yeah, you can find.
feel
Yeah,
of it,
you can
that's what you want
translate.
to.
Yeah,
Yeah,
make it. Absolutely, you can. You know.
absolutely.
And initially this was going to be an animated movie, and
Right.
Taika Waititi was going to write it, which is that's good news all on its own, right?
Super exciting.
So they're talking to him, and he decided he's still writing it. Directors, we're not sure. It's been rumored he may direct. I really hope he does, for
Yeah.
obvious reasons. But if he doesn't, fine. Either way, he writes and he said, no, this is now going to be a live action film. Now, like I wasn't excited before. Now I'm super excited because I love Flash Gordon, and there's so much potential there with Flash Gordon. And Taika writing this, come on.
I feel like doing it live action is going to give that movie a lot more credibility, because when you
Yeah.
do it animated, there's still people who don't watch Invincible because it's animated.
Right, of
You know, they're
course.
like, I
Agreed,
like live
100%.
action. I don't want to watch cartoons and blah 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 blah
Yeah,
blah.
agreed.
But if you automatically come in going, it's live action, and Taika Waititi is connected to it. By the way, if you remember, he did Thor Ragnarok, one of the best Marvel movies ever, superhero movies ever. Then you're gonna be like, oh shit, now I'm interested. Now you're
'cause
doubling down on
that
that.
is exactly the tone of what a Flash Gordon movie should be.
Absolutely,
Like without
absolutely.
even question. And that's what I'm saying. Him writing it, I mean, perfect. That's a perfect
Yeah.
marriage as far as I'm
Even
concerned.
if you didn't watch Ragnarok, if you watch what they do in Shadows,
Yeah, of course.
if you watch Jojo Rabbit,
JoJo, awesome.
like that is the level of absurdity and reality you can get with Taika, and so that makes it even more exciting.
Yeah, and it's like a really little sandbox he has to play with. So I'm super excited
Yeah,
about this, and I hope he does direct it. But this is one we'll get more news as we go along. But you should be excited for it. And, dude, God, I'm gonna go back and watch that film now.
who would you cast? Who would you cast as Flash Gordon?
Oh man, good question. There.
Because I know exactly who I'd go for.
Well, let me think about it. Go ahead and do yours, and let me think
Sure.
about this.
Okay. Okay. I just drew the blank of the name, but he was in Magic Mike, and he was also in the second Kingsman. He's a really good looking. He was a remake of 21 Jump
Oh my
Street.
god, he was Magic Mike guy. I know what you're talking about.
You know, I forgot his name. He just did the
Tatum,
voice. Channing Tatum.
Channing Tatum. Thank you. Yes.
He just did the voice of George Washington in America, the motion picture, which is hysterical. Go watch that.
Interesting.
But like, I would get him as Flash Gordon because he could do action and comedy.
Actually, on that vein, when you mentioned that at first, my thoughts went to Joe Edgerton, who was also in Kingsman.
That's true. He wasn't. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, he who also did.
But he doesn't have the football player build. He doesn't have the football player build.
He can build some weight. I think
he's strong.
Because you can make him a hockey player. It doesn't have to be football. Channing's there. I just like this guy better.
I kind of like him being a football player, and Channing just having that build that he has would be a really good. Like you could easily believe him as a football player.
I can see that.
And so that's why. And then if you want to go Ming,
The Rock, dude, stop. What else is there? You need a little movie catch up in this film just in case. Imagine The Rock with Taika directing. Come on, dude.
Oh man, that's pretty good.
The possibilities there are. I mean,
pretty good.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Because you're gonna have to make this very comedic and kind of cheesy, campy on purpose.
But
I think that's up his alley.
Would you want to get? See, I because his name is Ming. You definitely don't want to go full Asian because then it becomes stereotype.
You'll probably have to change the name no matter what. I don't think you can go Ming whether it's Asian or not. I just these days it's not gonna roll. Let's be honest. So you can call him whatever, Mongol. I don't give a shit.
It could be Ming, but it's spelled differently.
Maybe
so it can't be. So
yeah, I mean, you have
like Meeing. Ming.
Yeah, exactly. Because it wasn't an actor back then either. So I could see something like that. I would love to see something like that. To be honest with you.
Could you do Ming with 3 Ks at the end? He goes, oh, those are silent.
Oh no, yeah.
It's Ming KKK. It's a good bit.
I don't think any director can pull that off. Not even Taika, to be honest with you. He already was getting close to the whole Hitler thing already.
That's true.
That's a threshold there. But yeah, I mean, dude. I mean, that could be a lot of fun. I really hope this gets. They get the right people behind it and the right director. Whether it's Taika or not, but it's fine.
And I hope they actually rehire Queen with the new guy they got singing from
Adam Lambert.
Adam Lambert.
Yeah.
And have him redo.
That'd be kind of cool. Yeah, redo
that'd be the theme song. That'd be kind of cool.
One of the greatest movie soundtrack songs of all time.
Absolutely. Standing behind it. It is to me it is a tie between Flash Gordon and Highlander as some of the two greatest.
Yes, agreed. And I gotta throw in Kenny Loggins, Top Gun. Yeah. So.
Oh, I mean, yeah. I mean, that's
come
kind
on.
of a given.
Come
You
on.
can't.
You have to.
You can't escape the danger zone.
Thank you, man. Come on.
Anyhow.
Every time goosebumps. Every time. I can't wait for that sequel, man. I swear to God. But yeah, so let's see. So it's interesting. So I'm excited about that. And another movie coming out. If we forward, is our last nugget of the day.
All right.
This one was actually a huge surprise because I didn't hear anything about this, and most people did not hear about this. And that is the new Predator film, which is reportedly 3/4 of the way filming.
A new
And
Predator movie.
Right, and then
okay.
Right. Did you know about that?
No, none.
Well,
Not at all.
that's my point exactly. I didn't know about that, and I hear all kinds of stuff.
Right.
And most pundits, they didn't know. I mean, it's 3/4 film, and there's no leaks.
Is this
in this
a
day and age?
sequel to the Shane Black remake
No,
or the new
please,
sequel?
no. This is
No.
so let me get it. So the director is Dan Trachtenberg. It's the director, if I'm saying his name right. So he gave us some details. He mentioned it's going to be called Skull.
Okay.
It has got a female lead. Fair enough.
Okay.
And it follows the Predator in its first journey to Earth. So it's going to be like a prequel or set in the past.
Okay. All right.
They didn't specify which time frame, but obviously before the first one, right? Before Dutch and Jesse the Body Ventura and those fellas out there.
Before those amazing character actors. Yeah.
God, Carl Weathers. I mean, come on, awesome movie as it is.
So
And they compared it to. I mean, it's a comparison. I hate when I do this kind of stuff, but they say it's more similar to the Revenant. I'm sorry, which was the DiCaprio movie that came out a few years
with
ago.
the bear.
Right, with the bear. Exactly.
That was the big thing when we fought the bear.
And
yeah.
they're still not sure with its rated R13 yet. It's 3/4 of the way filming, which is a good chunk of change. For nobody to hear that Predator was coming out. And I mean, I kind of mixed because listen, the first Predator is one of all time greats. Right? This is get that out of the way.
You cannot deny it. It's super fun. Holds up.
Holds up. It's awesome. The second one, whatever.
It has its moments.
And then from there, it's been a disaster, right? I mean, Predators was, I think, with Agent Brody.
There was a fun high point with the Predator versus Aliens. I gotta admit, I liked those movies. They're super fun. Oh, no. They're bad, but they're super fun.
But they're bad.
They're bad, but they're super fun.
That's fair. I can live with that. But they haven't lived to the hype, right? And so, okay, here we go. And I mean, I shouldn't be excited about another Predator film. That's like another Alien film. I love me some Aliens. But
it's like Terminator.
Exactly.
A great premise, but
it just doesn't work. And I compared all these movies to like that girl you're dating, who everybody knows is bad for you, but you keep dating her because you're hoping that things go back to the way they were. That they don't, yet you still stay with her. That's exactly what happens. We're gonna
only because she does that thing with her back.
Right? Yeah. Exactly. We're gonna watch another Terminator. We keep watching because we're just hoping to capture that magic, which is never gonna come by. So I hear. I mean, this excites you. I mean, honestly, it's cool that they're doing it, but I mean, this one I can't wait.
Most 80s sci-fi IPs are like heroin. You're never going to get the same high as the first one, and you're going to keep chasing that dragon. Hope like maybe this is going to be the one. It doesn't matter what you mix in it. If it goes back to the first guy you bought it from, that original, you're never going to get it again, which sucks. I think instead of trying to reinvent the wheel, I like the idea of like a prequel. Like have the first Predator stand, even let the second Predator stand, but make a prequel, and then take it out of them coming to Earth. Make it like in the future we're space traveling and we come into a planet that's in the middle of a predator hunt. That's different, and you still hit all the notes. And maybe there were predators, and maybe they thought it's been so long since they came across one that's like an urban legend to them and that kind of stuff. Like that you could still do without messing up with what made Predator great. You don't have to make anybody autistic. You don't have to try to have more people go into another jungle. Like it's none of that. Like it's just what makes Predator great. They are hunters.
I think it's hard because I think, and I've had conversations, especially with like aliens, right? I mean, there's only so much you could do with aliens. It really is. And we've seen the best of what they could do with it, right? In part 1 and part 2. And what else can you do with it? Like Predator, the best of Predator we saw. What else could you do without having to, rinse and repeat?
Right.
It's hard. And I get this is a prequel. Fine. But the problem is this prequel means they're going to go back. I don't know. It could be. I mean, I kept thinking about remember part 2? When Danny Glover, they gave him that gun as a gift or whatever. Right. It's that old West, like something like that. Do I really want to see a Predator in the old West?
But that's how he gets the gun.
Right. So maybe it still ties into that.
Connects. I mean, it all connects.
I don't know. I'll watch it because again, we're suckers, we're idiots. We're gonna go watch it. Whatever.
I almost like to see a movie that's almost kind of like a Wall-E scenario. Like the first 20 minutes of Wall-E is just all silence, and it's just like, just him going through emotion. What if there was an entire movie just done from the basis of a predator going on his first hunt, and they send him to like a crazy, ridiculous alien planet? There's no humans. Like, get it out of the way. Like, we don't have to anchor it on Earth. Just you see a predator going on a this is like the most dangerous planet they've ever found.
I think, yeah, if you get from the perspective, like you're saying, from the perspective of the predator, make them the protagonist to some degree, right? That would be cool. And maybe he goes to a planet where he's outnumbered, he's outgunned, and he's out there trying. That could be cool. I could see that.
That could be a lot of fun. Yeah. And then while there, you find out there's certain kind of like prisoners that are used for food, and one of them maybe is a human, and he knows what a predator is. So like they form like, and they kind of like team up almost like enemy mine, and that's like you could do. That's a legit good predator pitch where you're doing all the predator stuff in a way you've never seen before, but you're still establishing that connection from previous movies. That's like. Short of like, when they combined Aliens and Predator, I thought that was fun, but I started thinking, why not combine all the IPs that you don't know what to do anymore? Like, what if there was a war between the aliens, between the Predators and like Terminators? So they're all human, they look like they're human, but they're Terminators underneath, and see how far that goes. Because and then and they're fighting over like the hive of like a queen alien. Like, you want to have a clusterfuck of an amazing movie. That's it. Predators versus Terminators trying to get to the alien hive. Come on. That sounds amazing. That sounds amazing.
You know what you gotta do next?
What?
Fast Furious Predators.
Yes.
What Tyrese gets done, because I'm tired of Tyrese. He gets axed. John Cena, please, come on. You gotta get axed. Sorry, dude.
Sure.
Come on, dude. That's the franchise you mix.
And you have Dom leading a space predator.
You can't have Dom
crew.
because he'll destroy all of them in one punch. Because I don't.
But that's why, because like he's fighting the predator, and he's like, we're family. And he's like,
it should be Dom, doing predator against the predator. So
and the predator's like,
he's the one chasing the predators, and all scared of Dom. Like, oh my god, Vin Diesel.
Exactly.
Oh my god, what do we do?
Exactly. They're like, oh, it's the chosen one. Whatever you gotta satiate Vin Diesel's ego with. Like the predator's like, he's a chosen one. Great. Done. Perfect. No problem.
Once again, the perfect predator movie is done right here on Nurse Plating. Just want to
see, we have all the best pitches. I've had people say that when I came up with that Star Trek pitch, people are like, that's a really fun pitch. Like, we have the best pitches. Like, you can't beat our pitches. Like, hire us. Like, if they're hiring YouTube people, hire us, because we have the best pitches.
We're gonna do one. It's gonna happen, Eric. We're gonna do the first nerdy news nugget. There's a couple of YouTubers now working for WB. Eric De Silva, Jose Romero. That's the story I want to tell in this show.
They are just like they are idea guys. We hired them, they spit an idea, and then from that concept they can either write a script or to someone else, and the director gets attached. But they are the idea guys.
And once our version of Black Superman comes out, we get fired. But that's okay. We had our shot.
But we told you we're gonna make a horrible Black Superman to get it out of the way, so real people can do a good one. We're gonna make all the mistakes. Let us do it.
Couldn't agree more. But all that being said, here that's all the nuggets for today.
All the nuggets. That is a lot of stuff happening behind the scenes. A lot
of nuggets, but let's a couple of shows to talk about. And I think and I think one of them was Netflix released the final trilogy season, whatever, for Transformers. Their remake of it. So, thoughts on that, Eric?
Okay, so to me, I feel like Transformers is the anti-Motu Revelations. Everyone complained about, there's not enough He-Man. I don't want He-Man. Who cares about Teela? Transformers heard that. They said, hold my beer and the rest of this cast. Because all we're going to focus on is Optimus Prime and Megatron for a lot.
Sure.
And, I mean, if you've watched the other two series, because it's a trilogy of series, they're really fun. They commit to the original concept of Transformers Generation 1 stuff.
Yeah.
And then they weave in between the raindrops and give you this bigger, better story. And I didn't realize that this series is a multiverse series. Again, like everyone is leaning in the multiverse, because what's happening there isn't exactly how it happened in the Transformers mythology, but it is, and they're just mixing and matching things together, making it all one big conducive story. So, which is super cool. I loved it. Like you're getting Megatron and Optimus Prime, like G1, and then they reference Galvatron in season 2 with Unicron. And then they brought both of those back and then introduced Nemesis Prime, which has never been seen in like American animated Transformers. So you're just, and all of it's connected. And you got Beast Wars. Dude, just, if you were a fan of Transformers, it is too much. My only complaint is that it was not about the Transformers. It was about Optimus Prime and Megatron. And I would have liked to seen the Transformers. Yeah. So I think, like I said, the opposite of Motu.
Yeah, I like the first 2 seasons. They were good, right? And it's a good pattern Netflix has with, what everything about Masters Universe. I know we liked it. But Transformers, I was really liking. Voltron, they've done well with this stuff, right?
Voltron, I like too. Yeah,
a lot of good.
Yeah, Castlevania right? Also solid.
Old properties that they're bringing back to life. I like the first 2 seasons. This third season was just okay for me. Like, I don't think it ended that well.
I thought it ended well, but my problem is that I would have liked to see more of the Transformers. Sure. Like in the first season, they really did a good job of spreading out like everyone's like motives. Like everyone had a thing. Like Bumblebee was a big character because he wasn't an Autobot at first. You got to see a lot of stuff from like Wheeljack trying to be like the voice of reason, going, "We're losing, we need to do something." And then
Ultra Magnus? No,
Ultra Magnus was a big, and then he died. Magnus died in season 1, which is crazy. Yeah. And then in season 2, they really gave Alita 1 and Jetfire a lot of shine, which is cool. Jetfire is one of my favorite Autobots. I was like, this is really cool.
Awesome.
Dude,
that's awesome.
So cool. Yeah. Like. They did a re-release and I didn't buy it, and I'm mad at myself again because I didn't buy the original and now I didn't buy the re-release. Like, ugh. Yeah. So, but all that was fine. But this one was very like, and mind you, in both those other 2 series, Optimus Prime does carry a little bit more of the bulk. So like,
which is fine. There's no problem with that.
Yeah, but like, so Optimus Prime is, if you're gonna do like character, like who takes the bulk of the character stories, Optimus Prime does about 50% all by himself, maybe 55. But this last series, he's doing like 75%, if not 85.
And it's 15 and 20.
Yeah, 15 20. Yeah, and Galvatron a little bit in between the raindrops. Mm-hmm. And then you have Nemesis Prime, which is just another Prime, which is why I'm saying it's so much Prime. Yeah. And Bumblebee has like a small little moment, but like not enough really. There were some cool surprises. Spoiler alert, we're going to put this right here. Sure. They released a toy last year that showed up this year, which is the Autobots spaceship called the Ark actually transforms into a robot, which they released a toy last year. It looked cool. And cool. Put in this. So I thought that was a lot of fun. That was that was surprising. Like, oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, that's good.
But to me, the thing that they could have done to really nail in what was happening, because they passively let you know that all this is a multiverse story, because where it ends is nowhere where Transformers have ever been. So it's clearly a multiverse. Sure. And I would have liked, they clearly set up that now Unicron is going to be the next level threat, because he's saw how that there is a multiverse. I don't think he realized it was a multiverse, but now that he does, he wants to get all the multiverses where his plans have been stopped, which I thought was a kind of a cool idea. But I would have liked it if they showed him transforming, because to really give you how big of a threat, because we saw him as a planet in season 2, and we saw him as a planet in season 3. I would have liked it if you saw him transform.
Yeah.
And if you saw him transform, and then when the camera pulls back, it's not just pulling back to see how big he is, but imagine how much cooler it would have been to really set up that this is a multiverse. When they pull back the camera, it's not just him transforming, but around him are all the Cybertrons he's destroyed.
Oh, I got you. That's cool.
That would have been like, shit. Like, it would have been like, these guys are fucked, because he's got like 25 Cybertrons behind him. Like, he's done this. So you guys got to really shape it up, or you're going to be 26. Like, that would have been like, to see how big he is compared to the planet, and then that he's destroyed so many planets. That's how you really push the Unicron as a threat level. I would have liked that.
We saw obviously the original. We saw Unicron. Then you got the sense of scale. Back in the film, back in the day.
Right.
It was awesome. God, it was awesome.
It was so good.
It's a missed opportunity. But I think this probably would have been better served with another season and kind of spread this last one out a little bit.
Yeah.
But
I would. Yeah. But for what it is, it's still good. Like, it's not bad.
Yeah. Of course, no. Not at all.
But I will agree with Jose. The first 2 seasons were a lot better in terms of like really giving everyone their due and making the story move forward. Because like I said, season 1, was really more of Bumblebee, Optimus, and Wheeljack as like the three, and Alita One were like and Jetfire. Jetfire had a turn too where he was so, and then you had like you had Soundwave, you had Starscream, you had Ultra Magnus, you had Shockwave. Everyone was vying, and then those relationships carried over to season 2 in a significant way. It wasn't, but season 3 there was a really big drop off. Like in this season, they referenced that like Alita One and Jetfire and their crew that was on Cybertron died. We never saw them die.
Yeah. It was. I said it was a little bit. I said in the next season they could have really fleshed this out.
Yeah, or just 2 extra episodes. You would have 2 extra episodes.
Maybe, make up whatever it is. They could have done 4 and 4, but either way, they needed more time ultimately. I mean, I still recommend if you're a Transformers fan, why would you not want to watch it at the ultimate? Right?
But here's, I mean, at the end of the day, here's the thing: anyone who was mad that there wasn't enough He-Man in Master Universe, you watch Transformers and you're gonna get too much Optimus Prime. It might be even a problem, but you will get Optimus Prime, and Optimus Prime is awesome. My one complaint throughout the whole series is you never got to see Optimus Prime like you saw him in the first 15 minutes of the animated movie. Sure. When Optimus Prime is like a badass.
Yeah, you don't get. Yeah, I agree.
Like he could put up a fight. He could fight Megatron, but he's barely hanging on and always on the verge of death. Like almost every episode. And I'm like, I just want to see a badass Optimus Prime. like say what you will about He-Man in Revelations. He was a badass. Like he came in and he's like, I'm knocking things out of the way. I'm going to contain all the magic in the planet into myself so no one dies. Like it is amazing. All his flashbacks, he's doing kick-ass things. Like he is great. And Optimus Prime has sort of those moments, but it's never to a level of like those first 15 minutes of the animated movie, which by the way, they're re-releasing in theaters to celebrate the 30th anniversary. Yeah, cool. So if you want to see OG Optimus Prime kicking ass, go watch the theater. If you want to see a fun Transformers adventure, you can watch the series. But one of my main complaints of the series is they didn't make Optimus as badass as he was in those first 15. I would have hoped by the 3rd series we would have gotten that Optimus. Yeah, but we didn't. We got allusions to it. And I would have liked just a straight up like he is Optimus. He's awesome. Cool shout outs and Easter eggs when Alita One's ghost called Optimus Prime Orion, because that was his original name before he became Optimus Prime. He became Orion. It was Orion Pax. So cool little shout out for that little Easter egg. But overall, I give it a solid B. That 3rd season was a solid B. I like an 8.5 out of 10. Yes, that's what I would give the
B, C plus B for the final season. I say a B minus for the whole series as a whole.
Yeah, B minus. I think that's a good rating. Absolutely.
And another show which kind of frustrated me as well, a little bit like Transformers last season. Of course, that is Bad Batch, which we've both been up and down with the show.
Right.
We haven't. None of us have really reached the heights we would like to have reached on this show. And for me, it's been Omega. She continues to be an issue. But all that being said, we got episode 14. We got 2 left. I mean, you talked about how we were waiting for that shoe to drop. So, okay, where we're going with the.
It feels like it's starting now. It feels like it's starting.
It feels like, and I'm not sure we're quite there yet, but it does maybe perhaps set that up.
It's the intro. It is the epilogue.
Right. It feels like there's something there. I wish they would have done more with that. But we talked about how it would take 3 episodes to really end this. Right.
And I feel like
the way we want to see it end. Now we're not sure what we're getting.
Spoiler.
Of course, yeah. We're
Bad Batch. Spoiler. Bad Batch goes on a mission to save a clone that Rex has asked him to look into, which is cool. I like that. Yeah. And it looks like the planet they go to is a planet that's building the first key components of what eventually will go into the Death Star.
Right.
Because when they're trying to escape, they even mentioned there's like an exhaust valve that can fit them. And I was like, that's the valve.
It was very subtle,
cool.
But yeah. Okay, yeah.
I like that. And in the course of trying to escape, they get ambushed, and Hunter sacrifices himself to get, not to die, but to be caught, so the rest of the Bad Batch can escape. Which there's a moment of hesitation, but they're like, you know what? Just numbers wise, because we're such good soldiers, we know that there's no way for us to win this. So they take off. They leave Hunter behind, and Hunter is then at the end of the episode is confronted by Crosshair, going, I got you, and I'll get everybody else too, kind of situation. It ends there, and I was like, this to me was probably where I wanted the series to be, like this level of like action and immediate consequences. Sure. I that's why I feel like this is the beginning of what they need to start to resolve it, because now you've upped the stakes with your original threat from episode 1, which is Crosshair being consumed by Order 66. So, will Hunter get a chip reimplanted in his brain and make him another fully subservient clone agent? I don't know. But I'm excited. I thought the action was really good. I didn't feel like any part of this was wasted. I probably think this was one of the tightest episodes they've done. Like there was not a lot of meandering. Like it was very like one thing leads to the other.
Yeah.
Boom, 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 boom.
I agree.
And it opens the door for like this bigger threat that's been looming over them since episode 1. So if they would have made Bad Batch like Mandalorian or another Marvel series when we get 6 to 8 episodes, this would be probably episode number 4.
Exactly, and that goes back to the 16 is obviously was too long, right, for this show. It really is, but it is one of the best episodes. I thought. I'm with you there. It's really, it's a good episode. I wish it should have happened episode 10, right?
You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right.
As opposed to 14. So it's really. I mean, listen, it'll be interesting to see. I mean, obviously, they're gonna try to rescue a temp, of course. It'd be kind of cool. Maybe they end off however it ends, that Hunter, gets the chip readjusted and he's on Team Crosshair.
Or they're able to save Crosshair and get his chip busted out when they have a machine.
Right. Either you save both or both turn or stay evil.
Right.
That'd be kind of interesting setting up the next season. I wouldn't mind that. But yeah, like I said, better episode. Hopefully they can. We got 2 left, so they can stick the landing. It all depends what they do in the end, obviously.
Yeah.
And this becomes the key episode. Just like the last one was. This is the one. Okay.
What if Hunter gets damaged where he doesn't join the Empire and he leaves a Bad Batch and becomes like a full-on evil villain, and he tattoos the other half of his face to look like a skull, and then he becomes like an evil Hunter? Like that'd be kind of cool.
So yeah, he turns evil. They don't rescue him. They can try, but he turns whatever.
Right. He's not the Empire. He's like his own
or whatever. He's not the same version of himself. Right.
Exactly.
Something like that. I'd buy it. I think that'd be probably more interesting than just them straight up just saving him. Right.
Absolutely.
Or maybe saving Crosshair, whatever the case is. But they can still kill Omega, which will make it the greatest Star Wars series.
I know you're waiting
time.
for that.
I mean,
I told you. I believe Boba Fett's gonna kill her. I think that's how it's gonna work out.
Again, pending the greatest Star Wars property ever seen, if Omega dies. That's cross both of them. So let's see, but it's but good episode.
Good episode.
Probably
one of the best episodes of the series so far.
We've been not shitting on it, but we've had issues with the show the last 3-4 episodes, and deservedly so. But now it picked up, and hopefully that momentum. Can we get a good ending here?
For a long time, probably the past 5 or 6 episodes, it's been a lot of world building, a lot of referential, like, hey, remember this other series kind of stuff, and I get that.
They're like crazy, and it's just like
and I'm like, there's really, if streaming has taught you anything, is you got to be really precise with your episodes, because it's not regular TV where people are going to tune in for 26 episodes and know that only 11 matter.
Exactly, and we're so used to it now. We're so used to seeing that kind of presentation, and when you have a show like this where it's so much filler, it just really bogs you down, and you kind of lose that excitement, because
have you noticed
okay, now you're just watching it to watch it as opposed to anticipating.
I know, and in Disney Plus, when you pick certain series to watch, they'll have like a subsection of like essentials.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah,
have you seen that? Like The Simpsons have like 6 different versions of what they consider essentials, and on Disney Plus they have an essentials of the Clone Wars, where like it's like these 3 episodes from season 1 episode from season 2, 5 episodes. So, and then you can just watch all that and get the essentials that affect the bigger Star Wars universe, which also means everything else is a lot of filler, or just like stuff that's like in the middle that doesn't affect the bigger Star Wars universe, but kind of affects a little bit of what's going on there. You got to structure your series now like it's an essential.
Yeah, you have to.
Where every episode has to matter, because if not, you're like. Because of our viewing habits, we're not like in that thing. We're like, oh, cool, they all reset, awesome, and then you leave for the day. Like people want to see growth and change, because if not, it feels like you're stagnating. And the whole point of what the golden age of TV is that there is no real like standard. Like there is no preset. Yeah, everything changes a little bit. Everyone moves forward.
Exactly. And the show, you can have filler. That's fine. A lot of shows have, not every show. A lot of shows have filler, which is fine if your show is up here, right? Like, man, this show's great. This episode was okay, but even Loki, I didn't like the third one, but the show's still up here for me. But when your show is here and you give us filler, it just doesn't. It just frustrates you more than anything. You're like,
it makes people question why they're watching.
Yeah, exactly. This show is not that good. I'm watching this nonsense, right? If it was great in one bad episode, what it happens, right? Most shows have a bad episode. It's not a big deal,
Right.
right? It's about the consistency of it. So in this show, this doesn't have the room for error. It just doesn't.
No.
So it needs to end well. I
Yeah.
hope.
Yeah, it does.
I'm confident it will. Don't be wrong. I don't think it's going to be like, oh my God, Eric, this is amazing, greatest show ever. I don't think I'd be surprised if almost come back and says that the next.
It'll be
episode.
fun.
I think it's going to be like,
I'm hoping to get fun. If we get as good as this episode, I'll be happy.
Yeah, if it's like that, I'm like, okay.
So, yeah, it's tight. It moves forward. I like what I saw, and I'm actually a little interested about what's going to happen next. Exactly. That's all you need.
Yeah,
that's you dismount it like that, and you're golden.
Yeah, I don't expect this to be an amazing ending. I really don't.
Right,
and that's not a bad thing. But just again, with what they've given us before, whatever. They just give us what we had last episode, that same level. I'm fine. Again, this is a B show.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, I don't think
it's not the Mandalorian.
Yeah. It's not going to get. Yeah. It can get to an A, but it can go down to a C if the ending sucks.
Yes, absolutely.
If the ending is great, it's still a B show as far as I'm concerned.
B plus. They might.
Maybe it has to be like an incredible ending.
If they really swing for the fucking fences,
sure,
they can get. They can be a B plus show.
But B plus at best, right? But it can drop to a C if
even because then you're gonna make a lot of people mad they invested time in the series.
16 episodes. That's a lot of time wasted. I know it's only 25 minutes, but that's. One show, it's a 16 weeks. That's a long time.
If they did 10 to 13, then I don't think people would demand as much 10, because 10 to 13.
I think this show, 10 would have been the sweet spot for this show.
Yeah, just like what if is doing 10, and I think that's a perfect idea for like an animated series, 10 episodes. I think live action you do 6 to 8, animated do 10, maybe 12 at most, but you got to have a super tight plan.
If you're doing 12, you got to bring it. And you can do more live action, depends on the show, but
absolutely.
Yeah, but 8 to 10 is the sweet spot for me for any live show. Any network, not like Disney. But yeah, animated you can probably go a little bit longer, 10 to 12 because it's shorter. That's fine.
Yeah.
But I guess 16.
I mean, look at the stuff they did it. They did it in like Netflix with those Marvel shows. Though some of those 13 episodes, there was a lot of filler. Yeah, they
exactly look filler. But some of the shows, really, like Daredevil was great, so we put up with the fillers in Daredevil.
Yeah,
we did.
Yeah.
But Jessica Jones or even Luke Cage,
or Iron Fist.
Well, the whole show is a filler. Well, that show just sucked.
Right.
But I mean, again.
Second season was better. I'll give second season was better.
It wasn't great. But Daredevil, those filler shows we tolerated, right? It's
exactly
fun. Exactly what I'm talking about. I think Punisher was 10. No, I don't remember now. Honestly,
I think it was like 8 or 10 for Punisher.
Either way, but 13 was still a little bit too long. Again, 8 to 10 is a sweet spot for any show. Period.
Absolutely,
doesn't matter. Netflix, Apple, superhero or not. But so let's see. I hope it ends well, and we'll come back and we crow.
Fingers crossed.
And whatever. I mean, I'm rooting for the show. I am. I don't hate. I don't dislike the show. I'm just really against Omega.
It has a lot of potential. I just hope they really lean into how good it could be.
Exactly. I'm just anti-Omega. I just want to make that clear. With that being said, Eric, I think that does it for today, man. So, that has been the show, man. I mean, there was a lot of stuff happening this week. There wasn't a lot of like, oh man, like nailed it, dismounted. Like there was a lot of stuff happening, a lot of stuff that shows a lot of potential for the future. Like I said, we're going to talk more extensively about Suicide Squad when it comes out, but clearly right step forward for DC. Transformers, you got 3 seasons of it. I would like to see more about this universe. I don't know if it's going to be able to pull it or not. I hope so. I like the toys. I like the story. Just more Transformers, less Optimus and Megatron. And then you got Bad Batch. Got 2 more episodes to go. I hope they stick the landing on this one. You have. It's almost like being in a fully stocked kitchen, but you're only making finger foods instead of a meal. Like, give me a meal. Like, I want a meal. Like, this is no longer. I don't want to dip a carrot in blue cheese. Right now we're getting chips and salsa and Doritos. That's good.
Like, but give me a loaded nacho party side where it's just beans and chicken and
the steaks in the freezer. Bring them out, thaw them out. Let's get the grill going, right?
Give me a hot skillet and just cook it there. That's what I want. Give me a meal because you have the potential for a meal. Give me a meal. That'd be great.
We do got a couple this month, hopefully. And because I just did the watch list. We talked about all the shows coming out.
Okay.
And we set the table for August because obviously the month just started. But we know we have something like Titans coming out.
Titans.
Just to excite nerds. We have what's the other show? What If, of course.
What If's going to be very exciting.
That's another one that we all should be excited about. There's a couple of small ones coming out.
And I believe also What If. Just to give you why I'm excited about What If too. The action figures based off the series look awesome. Yeah. So like I said, Spider-Man, Doctor Strange, Zombie Cap. T'Challa, Star-Lord, like those 3 alone, like I'm in. I want to get
No,
those. Those look so
exactly.
cool.
And of course, yeah, and
So
Suicide Squad. So that's three big like
Suicide Squad, yeah, it's gonna be
stuff
so
for
much
us to
stuff
dig
coming
on.
up, man.
Yeah, so
And
great.
yeah, so and if you guys liked anything about this episode, let us know. You can hit us up on Instagram on Nerdsplaining Pod. You can hit us up on Twitter at Nerdsplaining _ You can go to ericdesilva.com, check out all the podcast episodes, or now you can go to YouTube. What is our YouTube channel, Jose?
With the Latin Nerds Network. So we're having all these shows housed in there, Nerds Planning, all my movie reviews, the watch list, and so forth. So hope you guys can subscribe below, comment, let us know what you guys thought. You got something you want us to talk about, we'll talk about it. If you want Eric to talk
If you
less, I
disagree with our
agree.
claims,
You know,
yeah, listen,
you make fun of
don't,
Eric, believe me, you got carte blanche to make fun of
don't,
Eric. I'll bring you on the
don't,
show to make fun of Eric.
don't listen to Jose. Jose just feels like because my opinions are better than his, he needs me to talk less so he can look better. And no, that's not. Let's just call a spade a poorly reviewed person. That's what Jose is. Like you cannot. No, lame. But we appreciate it. And share it to your friends, and especially on YouTube. Make sure you smash that like button and subscribe. I think that's what you got to say for the kids these days.
So, yes, that's the terminology.
Yeah. And tell your friends to follow us, and we really appreciate it. And just things we wanted to talk about. Let us know if you wanted to talk about Troll Hunters, because that movie just came out. We will talk about Troll Hunters. If there's another series that we haven't talked about, let us know about that. Even if there's like an old movie that has come out that we have not watched, he goes, we would like to get your opinion on this movie that came out. We will review that. We have no problem with that. We would love to talk about nerd stuff. Love to talk about sci-fi and horror and all those kind of things. As long as it's entertaining, as long as there's a group of people who feel passionate about it, we know something about it, and we want to talk about it, and we want to work with you guys on that as well. So please let us know. We appreciate all the feedback and everything else. And guys, that has been the show. Thank you so much. And always, if you didn't know, now you know. Peace.